What's going on, you guys? It's me back again for another video, and today we are going to be talking about the time that I almost went to a nude beach. Alright, so earlier this year I was in San Francisco, and for those of you who don't know, San Francisco is home to the Folsom Street Fair, which is something that I have always wanted to go to. However, unfortunately the topic of this video is not that, because when I was in San Francisco, it was not actually during Folsom. I think Folsom takes place during September. I'm pretty sure I actually went onto Folsom Street just like by happenstance, but I was there in like March or something. It was still like pretty cold. Definitely was not the time of year that you would want to be whipping it out in the street because you would be chilly. So I don't know if any of you guys are like this, but whenever I go to like a famous, I was gonna say a famous city, but I don't know if that makes sense. Like a big city, you know, one that people know about, they're gonna, like if you tell people, oh, I went to San Francisco, they're gonna ask, did you see X? And can you guess what I'm gonna say that I thought people were gonna ask? People were gonna ask me if I told them I went to San Francisco if I saw the Golden Gate Bridge, because that's like their thing. I'm gonna say it's their one thing, but I'm sure if I say it's their one thing, there's gonna be people commenting, actually, like, here's this other thing that's way more famous than the Golden Gate Bridge. Anyway, the one thing in my mind that I needed to see while I was there was the Golden Gate Bridge. And if you are a gay, if you're in that scene, or maybe even if you're just a little bit edgy, we're not gonna limit it. If you don't know this, right at the bottom, like at the base of the Golden Gate Bridge, there is a nude beach. And so in my head, I was already going to be in the area and I was going to go out of my way to see the Golden Gate Bridge. I was thinking, you know, there's a nude beach literally right there. I don't think I'd ever been to a nude beach before. I'd been to a couple topless beaches. I had never been to a nude beach before, and I really wanted to go, and I was already going to be right there, so I was like, great, we're killing two birds with one stone. However, in my head, like, there wasn't going to be any obstacles to that. I was like, oh, the bridge is right there, the beach is right there, so like, it should be so easy to get from the bridge to the beach. And that is where the crux of the story lies, because that is in fact not the case. I was staying downtown San Francisco, that's where my hotel was, and to walk from downtown to the Golden Gate Bridge, it's a bit of a hike. And another thing about me that I wanted to see is Starbucks. I'm like a relatively consistent Starbucks drinker, not as much as I used to be because it's just like an insane amount of money, and every time, I feel like no matter how much money I make in my life, spending $8 for a cup of coffee is like, that's too much. Even if I was like a billionaire, I just think that would be like too much. Maybe a billionaire, I simply wouldn't care. But like, you know, like it's one of those things where it's not the actual money you're spending, it's the principle. But anyway, Starbucks told me when I Googled it that they had one of their, I have to Google what it's called because I don't remember what it's called. It's called a roastery. That's the word I was looking for. It's one of their reserve roasteries. And they told me they had one of the like Starbucks reserves there on the website. However, if you Google like the actual list of reserve locations, San Francisco is not one of them. I think they have one in Seattle, and it's like New York, maybe Chicago, the big hitters. But I was thinking, oh well, they might, because like this one Google search is telling me that like they do have one, even though when I like Google the list, it's not. So I'm gonna go there anyway. We're just gonna walk and we're gonna see, because I didn't want to rent an Uber, because it was probably gonna be like, it was gonna be like a 15-minute drive, but it was gonna cost me $40. And like this was already maybe like an ill-advised financial decision going to San Francisco to begin with, but we did it. So I was trying to keep it like relatively cheap, and I was like, you know, I'm not doing anything today, I can just walk. I think it took like an hour to walk from my hotel to the roastery, and then it was going to be like an extra 30 minutes to get from there to the Golden Gate Bridge. So anyway, I walked for like an hour, and mind you, it's downtown San Francisco, so I'm passing all these like gorgeous, luxurious coffee shops that I could have stopped at any one of them, but I was like, you know what, I had been to the roastery, I already forgot the name, in Seattle, and it was really cool. It's a really interesting experience. If you ever get the chance to go to one, you should try it. If you like coffee, obviously, or even if you just like have a mild passing interest in Starbucks. So I was gonna go there, and I get there, and it is not one of their roasteries, it's not one of the Starbucks reserves. However, they do have in big letters like above like the counter where you order that it says Starbucks Reserve, and I think it was like, we sell Starbucks Reserve here. But then when I looked at their menu wasn't any different from any of the other Starbucks in the nation, and the actual physical location of this Starbucks is like so much worse than just like the average Starbucks you would find in the middle of nowhere. I'm kind of rambling. You guys, I just realized this video is about a nude beach, and you guys probably don't care about this at all, but this is like a PSA if you ever go to San Francisco and you want to check this out. Don't, because it's terrible. But it was basically just like a regular Starbucks that was also somehow worse than any like Starbucks you would find built within the last 10 years. So I'm like kind of bumming about it, but whatever. I'm kind of close to the Golden Gate Bridge, so I was like, I'm already so tired because I've been walking for like an hour. I think I had a backpack too, because I feel like I brought my camera with me, so I was like carrying this backpack on me. It was, I mean, gorgeous weather, so it's not like it was miserable to walk, but I already walked for an hour, and I was like, you know what, I'll walk for an extra 30 minutes, get to the Golden Gate Bridge. Fine, whatever. So I do that. At that point, you're kind of walking along the edge of, God, what body of water is that? That's not the ocean, because there's stuff on the other side. This shouldn't be so difficult for me, but there's like a river there that the Golden Gate Bridge crosses, or something. Please let me know in the comments how dumb this sounds, that I have no idea. People are gonna be like, oh, it's so obvious it's this. But I'm walking along the body of water. It's really pretty. There's a lot of people running and walking. It's a little too crowded, but like not terrible. I think it was a weekend, so it's probably more crowded than normal. So I'm walking, see the bridge in the distance, and so it was like a pretty pleasant walk. Get close to it. It looks very impressive. There's a lot of stuff going down. There was actually this guy who I thought was kind of following me along at like one point. It's like I would stop, and then like he would kind of stop at a distance, and he was like around my age, and like he was cute, so kind of think he was like scoping me out a little bit, but I was like on a mission. Maybe if I was in a different mood, I would have like taken some more interest in that prospect, but I was like, no, we're going to a nude beach, we're going to the base of the Golden Gate Bridge, I'm gonna get the best view possible, and like for the rest of my life, when I tell people that I went to San Francisco, or if they ask, I don't know why I would just randomly bring up the fact that I went to San Francisco. It's not like it's that interesting. But if anybody asks if I've ever been to San Francisco, I can say yes. And then when they ask me the inevitable question of, did you go see the Golden Gate Bridge? I can say yes. So it's gonna be like a check. So this was very important to me, is what I'm trying to say. So I get closer, kind of ignoring the other guy, and eventually I walk up and I get to the base of the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's really pretty. And there were tons of people surfing on the water, and they were like doing that like windsurfing, and some people had those like, I don't know what you call it, where it's like the surfboard, but then it's like on a pole and there's like another surfboard, so they're like surfing above the water. Some people were doing that, and it was really cool to see. Now it was really windy, so some of the water, there was like that ocean, it was like blowing some of the water up into the air, so you were getting like a little bit damp. It's not like you were getting soaked or anything, but like occasionally like a little bit of water would splash up, and it was frigid. So I don't know how these people were doing this, because it seemed like it was going to be a very unpleasant experience. But I get to the base of the Golden Gate Bridge, and this is when I realized that you cannot, unlike so many bridges in the United States, you cannot just like walk under the Golden Gate Bridge. There's like not a path there. There was a building, and I can't exactly remember what the building was. I don't remember if it was like restrooms. There's like a small parking lot, but you can't just walk under it. And of course, because of my luck, I was not on the side of the Golden Gate Bridge with the nude beach. And so it's literally like right on the other side. I'm on one side of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's literally not even like the other side, like crossing the Golden Gate Bridge. It's literally on the other side of my side of the Golden Gate Bridge. And there wasn't a way for me to get there. And the way the roads are constructed, it's not, I don't know how to describe this in a way that it doesn't seem like oh, couldn't you just like cross the bridge? It was probably gonna cost me, I think I even looked it up, and it was gonna be like an extra $40 for an Uber to get just to the other side. And at this point, it just wasn't worth it to me. It was still a little chilly out, so I was like, it's probably not even gonna be that crowded. I really wanna go, but I was exhausted, and I wasn't about to walk an extra like hour to 2 hours back to my hotel. So I was like, I'm already gonna have to get an Uber back to my hotel, so I just don't have it in me to try to figure this out. And so I spent maybe like 30 minutes to an hour just kind of hanging out at the base of the Golden Gate Bridge. There's like a little bit of a parking lot, but honestly, it's like shockingly small for what it is. So I don't know that I would recommend you like drive your own car. It's probably best to get an Uber or walk if you have nothing better to do like I did. So yeah, I ended up taking an Uber home. This is actually when I saw those like self-driving cars, because I had never seen those, because I'm not in an area where they have self-driving cars, as I don't think most people are, unless you live in like San Francisco or maybe like Seattle. And they were very unnerving. So I like didn't know what they were at first, because they're these cars with all these giant gadgets on the side. But yeah, so that's the short and quick version of the story, that I almost went to a nude beach, and then at the very last second, it just got way too complicated. And honestly, there probably wasn't going to be a big crowd there anyway, so it wasn't going to be super worth it. Going to an empty nude beach was going to do, like, it was not worth the extra $40 on a day that I'd already been like hiking around and was going to have to Uber back. And the Uber driver back was like insane. They in San Francisco, if you've ever taken an Uber in like a big city like that, they drive, they're on it, and they like have absolutely, they have not 1 second to spare for anybody else's. They're gonna go, they're gonna speed. If they can run a stop sign, they're going to. So it was a wild ride. But anyway, overall it was a pretty good experience, and I'm still glad that I got to see the bridge. Maybe if I go there again sometime, I'll try to go to the Nude beach, and maybe I'll go there sometime in the summer. It was a pretty good time, if not mildly disappointing, but thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this video. I'm glad you liked the last video. I'm gonna keep just trying to post as much as I can. Maybe we're gonna shoot for like an every other day kind of thing. I'm just still not sure. We're doing it as much as we can. So yeah, that's about it for today's video. I hope you guys are having a great start to your Christmas season. I guess maybe it's a little past the start now. It's already like the 7th or the 8th, but hope you guys are having a great December. Like, comment, subscribe, or don't. I don't really care. Subscribe if you want to see more, I guess. Like if you want to make me a little bit happier. And then check out my OnlyFans for some of the extended cuts of the videos that are on this channel. I don't think this one's going to need one because it wasn't super raunchy, but I have a few more coming up that are going to. And I've gotten some pretty good reviews from the people who did subscribe and liked seeing the last video I posted, the extended raunchier version. So yeah, hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.